What's up, guys? It's Isaac at Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson here in Raleigh, North Carolina with your new bike of the week, the 2022 Low Rider S. Now, many people are super excited about the new Low Rider ST, but the Low Rider S is also packed with many of the same awesome features and is certainly something that you're not going to want to gloss over. So be sure to stick around as we dive into everything that makes this bike so awesome for this year for your new bike of the week. Now, the Low Rider that first stole many people's hearts was probably the Dyna Low Rider, especially the 2017 packed with the 110 Screaming Eagle twin cam and easily distinguished by those square battery box covers and the dual gauges mounted right here on the tank. However, in 2018, the Low Rider was shifted over to the new Softail platform and it was given a 107 Milwaukee 8 motor. Then you saw the Low Rider S come around with the 114 Milwaukee 8 motor. And today, you've got the Low Rider S with the 117 Milwaukee 8 and a handful of other new features on this bike. Probably the biggest things you're going to notice about this bike, separating it from last year's Low Rider S, you've got the 117 Milwaukee 8 motor. That heavy breather gauge has actually been condensed to a single gauge mounted on the handlebars, and instead of an analog speedometer and analog tachometer, now you just have the analog tachometer with the digital speedometer and the other data readouts in that same screen. It got a little bit taller in the rear as well. You've got an extra inch of ground clearance, letting you lean it a little bit harder, and you've got an extra ½ inch in the seat height. And you'll notice this seat is just a little bit firmer than last year with a little bit more solid of a back wall, helping you stay a little bit better planted on this bike for when it moves. And it certainly does. This motorcycle is the latest rendition of the Low Rider S, packed with all these fun features, and still retains that iconic, classic-looking styling, staying stripped down and looking pretty mean. Helping this bike stay true to its roots, you've got those bronze rims up front and that drop H on the black tank. Now for 2022, this bike also comes in the gunship gray, but the one we have here for you right now is the vivid black. You'll see it's got the Harley-Davidson Michelin Scorcher rubber on those bronze rims, and up front you've got dual brakes with ABS. Now we've got even more responsive front suspension with those inverted forks, giving it a little bit better handling. You've got that nice bright LED halo headlight found on all the new Softails that has a plenty bright beam and an even brighter high beam. The bike also has this little mini fairing, helping keep some of that wind off your chest a little bit better. From there you've got 4-inch risers with that analog tachometer built into the top clamp on the bars. On this analog tachometer, you've got all your indicator lights like before, but you've also got your fuel gauge, your speed, the miles on the bike, the trip A, trip B, a fuel range, your clock, and a digital tachometer as well if you really find yourself needing to fine-tune that engine speed. All these data readouts can be cycled through with the button on the left that shares a switch with the horn. Coming on back, you've got that simplified gallon tank. You still have this nice little crossbar in the middle with that FXLRS stamp reminding everybody what this bike is. On the right side, you've got that single gas cap. And below that 5-gallon tank is the powerhouse of this machine, the Milwaukee 8 117. Standard on this bike, making it look a little bit more aggressive and making sure the airflow is definitely not the restricting factor on this bike's power, is that big heavy breather right there on the side. This motor is feeding into a 6-speed transmission and a 2-to-2 shotgun exhaust. And these pipes don't look that bad on this bike, but I don't expect them to stay on many bikes for very long. And in front of the motor, you do have the oil cooler. So that's going to give you a little bit of assistance in helping make sure this bike stays a little bit cooler when it's running hard, keeping you going fast. Then for your foot pegs, you've got mid controls, keeping this bike feeling pretty sporty and light and nimble beneath you. Also adding to your comfort is that solo seat. Now the seat's going to be a little bit firmer than the other ones before it, and you're going to find it does have that nice solid back wall on it as well. So that's going to help make sure you're staying on this bike when you're really getting on the throttle. And beneath that seat is the adjustable rear monoshock, and true to the Softail frame, it's nice and tucked away. Then making our way on back, you've got that nice cleaned up rear fender. You'll find turn signals on either side and a nice bright LED tail light on the back. Showing you what this bike looks like with a rider on it, you'll see that it's not too aggressive of a riding platform, but it's a nice upright spot and it has me a little bit forward, so that way I'm in a really good spot where I can easily cruise like this for quite a while and also still be able to get down on it when we start to get moving a little bit faster. Throwing my feet up on those pegs, you'll see that it really puts me in a good spot, so that way I can really throw this bike around wherever I want to for sure. Yeah, it's a super smooth, quick, nimble, awesome bike to be on. If you decided to throw highway pegs up on this bike, you'll find that you're not going to have any issues with that heavy breather on the side because most of them are going to kind of stick you out a little bit. underneath it a little bit more or off to the side. So you're not going to have any issues there. You've got that kind of wrinkled black all over this bike, really blacking it out, making it nice and sleek, and especially right here on that center part of the tank. So when you start doing that noontime riding, you're not going to have that reflection coming back into your eyes there. But that tachometer is in a really nice spot right there. It really helps you just kind of glance down. And what that does is that allows you to do quick little glances down to kind of make sure you keep an eye on your speed. But also you can really keep an eye on that needle in your peripheral, so it allows you to really focus on the road with minimal focus on that needle. But you can still kind of keep it in your mind when you're really getting on the throttle and moving on it. So let me give you a quick look at what this bike looks like when you're riding on it. From that riding perspective, you'll see that tachometer I was just talking about. You've got all your hand controls in easy placement, and then you've also got your foot controls on the left and the right, all in a great spot, making sure you're having a well-controlled and a comfortable ride. So as you can see, this bike is fully loaded with tons of fun features on it that's really going to help you stay on this bike and keep moving right at the speed you're going to want to be. So wrapping up, let's go ahead and go into some quick specs on this bike. So you've got that 5-gallon tank I mentioned. Then there's the seat. This bike has a 27-inch seat height, which is about a ½ inch taller than last year's, and you are getting an extra inch of ground clearance compared to last year's model thanks to that monoshock. Running weight, this bike sits right at 679 pounds, so it's a fantastic weight where it's light enough that you can throw this bike around wherever you want to, but it's also heavy enough that it's going to be plenty stable out on the highway. And with that setup, you're going to be getting an estimated 47 miles per gallon out of this bike. So that's your 2022 Softail Low Rider S. This bike is an awesome ride for this year. Lots of new upgrades. 117 Milwaukee 8, a little bit taller in the rear, nice firm seat, analog tachometer in easy view. This bike is certainly something you're going to want to throw a leg over and not get back off of, because this bike is made to rip and you're going to have a blast doing so. But if you want to see what this bike is all about, be sure to come out here at Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson in Raleigh, North Carolina. As always, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you soon.